What's good, you guys? Your boy B. Mahari here, representing Mahari Nation Sports Podcast in the building. Yeah, I'm driving to work today, y'all. But I wanted to stop by and just give y'all a video about, my thoughts on the whole Draymond Green thing that happened last night. Him taking the swipe, taking a nice little right hand to the jerk into his face of the Phoenix Suns. See, you guys, the thing is that I'm noticing about Draymond Green here is that his antics at this stage right now has become much more intensified at any other time in his career. You know what I'm saying? The thing with Draymond Green is that he's an emotional guy that is smart as a tack to a point. And unfortunately, what we've seen this season here is that now the antics about him is more intensified than any other period, even during their championship years. Now, when we rewind back to the whole situation with him and Jordan Poole, it's a difficult, thing to talk about because we kind of heard stories about Jordan Poole and about how he was not sold in on the Warriors, culture and the way that they run things in that team. And Jordan Poole felt like he was above all of that. And I think that rubbed a lot of the players out the wrong way, and it certainly rubbed Draymond Green the wrong way, which led to, Draymond Green basically punching the dude in the face. And after that, the team chemistry was not the same. But I tend to think that incident is still ringing effects of that team even after Jordan Poole left the team. Because now players, the way I'm noticing about it is that the players around him they're working around him, but they're not working with him. And it's now showing its effect. Now, when you look at the Warriors as a whole, they've been struggling. For the last 14 games, they're 4-10. They've not been playing well. And I want to say, too, that Klay Thompson now is not the same player anymore. I think the injuries and what he's been through, it's now taking their toll. Now, he wasn't a guy that could create his shot off the dribble. He was more of a guy that played under the movement, under the fast-paced tempo, which allowed him to score at a high efficiency. But this year, because they're playing at a different pace, it's kind of how can I say this? It's kind of impede his progress, and it's kind of impede what he does best. That's the best way to put it. And now they're thinking about putting him on the bench. I don't think that's ever going to help. I think that now, the way this Warriors team looks now, I think that his style does not mesh with this current Warriors team now. We know that Steph Curry is going to continue what he does best, and he's still playing at a high level. We know Chris Paul is pretty much an old, ancient Hall of Famer now. He's not the same, excellent point guard that he's been in his prime. So you add all of these things, it's now looking real bad for the Warriors. So, but back to my point about Draymond Green. I think Draymond Green is going through a lot of some stuff outside of basketball that's not being disclosed about. Now, I'm not a psychologist. I don't try to pretend to be. You know what I mean? I'm not going to sit here and say that I think this is what's going on with him because we don't know. All we can see is it was on the court. But right now, the Warriors at this stage right now, they don't need these kind of distractions. They're still trying to figure out what team that are they. Are they still a playoff team, or they should be a team that should be rebuilding right now? So when you add all of these things here into that consideration, I think that now the Warriors at this stage right now, they're a good team, but I would say they're not a dominant team that they once were. And this team is going to have to go through a lot of rebuilding stuff to try to at least become a playoff team. So here's my point to this. Draymond Green, I think that now, after what we saw with the whole thing with Rudy Gobert, you know what I mean? Like him kicking another player, and now again him taking a punch. And listen, people could say it was an open hand. It doesn't matter. He threw the right hand. The league looks at it as a punch. I think that now the NBA is going to throw the major book at him. Now, if it's going to be a 15-game, 20-game suspension, I don't know. We'll see what they'll decide. But I think that now the antics have reached it to a point where it's now the league is going to have to make an example out of Draymond. And I don't preach for that, but unfortunately, they pretty much put the league in a situation where they're going to have to put the book on him. I mean, if they don't, it's going to create a double standard within the league. I mean, John Morant is already serving a 25-game suspension. His suspension is about to be concluded very soon. And you don't discipline Draymond for his antics, it's going to look like a double standard. So I think that, in my view, I think he'll serve at least a 15-game suspension, between 15 to 20 games at least. I'll be surprised if he's less than 10. If they give him less than 10, it's going to spark some outrage. But I think that he'll serve between the lines of a 15-game to 20-game suspension. Now, I read some people in the comments saying that, man, this guy should be banned for life. Listen, I think there's just idiots that just don't like the Warriors, and I think that there's just idiots out there that don't understand what protocol is. Now, if Draymond Green did this in a street basketball game, now we all know what's going to happen with that. You know, it's going to end up being violent. I mean, we all know that. But I think that what's going on with Draymond here is, I don't know if he's going through some stuff outside of basketball. I don't know, but it's not looking good. And I don't know how many times Steve Kerr is going to have to defend this kind of behavior. I mean, you put Steve Kerr in a no-win position, because if he goes at Draymond, it's going to look bad on his relationship, and it's going to look bad on some of the players. But if he defends him, it's going to look bad in terms of the outside perception. So it's going to look bad on all fronts. So Draymond needs to understand that he is a veteran on this team now. He's no longer a young, immature player anymore. He's going to have to realize that now you're in a different position where a lot of these players, these young players now around the team, they look up to you. And for you to do these kind of antics and to get yourself ejected, it hurts your team. And there's no reason for Draymond not to understand this at this stage of his career. We know how articulate he is. We know that he has his own podcast, and someday he may have a future in media. But ask yourself this question: if he continues with these antics on the floor, do you think any media companies are going to take a chance on him? I don't know. I mean, they're taking some chances on some very interesting characters like Steven Jackson, and now you've seen how successful he's been. But I don't know. I don't know what a lot of these media companies think about him. But that's besides the point. I hope that what happens with Draymond, I hope that they can just figure out what's going on with him and try to figure out what's been the issue with him and why he's been acting like this lately. Is it the struggle of the team? Is it some issues outside of basketball? Who knows? But they need to figure this out immediately, because his antics are hurting the team, and it's getting much more worse, and it's getting harder and harder to defend. So, but that's just my 2 cents. Let me know what you think in the comment section below. And with that, I'm out. Peace.